Prepare for trouble and make it double, because in this week's episode of Pokémon Sun and Moon, Team Rocket has officially returned, and it looks like they're going to get a brand new member of their team, which just so happens to be a Pikachu. Or is it? Team Rocket is officially here, and I'm glad they're here, because honestly, their goofy antics are going to fit perfect with the brand new art style of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Yes, it's more rounded and more goofy. Yes, it might not be as over-the-top and action-packed as XY and XY and Z, but honestly, I'm really enjoying the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, despite the fact that it is moving at a snail's pace. That and the fact that I think they're being kind of patronizing to Ash, because the whole story in this episode mostly focuses on Team Rocket arriving in Alola, but there's also this other subplot about Ash catching his very first Pokemon in Alola with the help of his friends, as well as his brand new Pokedex, the Rotom Pokedex, which is, of course, the classic electrical ghost Pokemon which can inhabit appliances. And one of the biggest features in Pokemon Sun and Moon is that you get this Pokedex, which is inhabited by a Rotom, which has a ton of personality. It can not only capture the images of Pokemon, but all of the info about them, which makes it the perfect traveling companion for Ash. I don't know how annoying this character is going to be as the series is going on, essentially because now Ash has two sort of mascot Pokemon with him. He's always going to have Pikachu hanging out on his hat or on his shoulders, and now he's got this Rotom, which is going to be constantly flying around and giving him information about the Alola region. We'll just have to see what this character is going to be like, but he is actually pretty helpful in this episode. I will say, though, it is strange, though, that Ash is having to be taught how to catch a wild Pokemon. This is something that he has plenty of experience with, and I don't feel the need to include all of his friends going out to the woods with him to catch a Pokemon. It seems like they're holding his hand just a little too much. They do realize that this guy has been through multiple Pokemon leagues and had some amazing battles and even stopped some of the biggest evil organizations from the Pokemon world, right? Well, even if Pikachu's level wasn't brought back down to 0 like it was in some of the other seasons, it looks like some of his experience is going to be cut just a little bit. Maybe they just want to include some more fan service from some more of the trial captains from the show. That doesn't really matter, though, because the main focus of this episode is definitely on Team Rocket, who are a little weird looking at first, I'm not going to lie. The brand new art style just makes them look so strange. They were very sharp and angular looking characters, and now they're very rounded. Meowth is still essentially the same, but James just looks a little weird to me, and Jesse's eyes, I don't know, they just seem a little smaller. That being said, they're still Team Rocket, they're still hilarious, and they're still going after the Twerps and Pikachu. And as they're making their way through the Alola Forest, they seemingly find a Pikachu, but it's not actually a Pikachu. It is a brand new Pokemon which is known as a Mimikyu, which is a ghost-type Pokemon which is wearing this veil over its body, which looks just like a Pikachu. Apparently this is a Pokemon which has just this unquenchable, seething rage for Pikachu. It hates everything about him, and it's weird that it's actually wearing the veil of a Pikachu, as if it's trying to live up to the standards of a Pokemon that it can never be. That's kind of the way it is in the games, too, but I have to admit, it's pretty horrifying in this episode, the way that it contorts its body and constantly sort of breaks its neck. Not to mention, there's a great scene where Meowth actually tries to look underneath the veil and suddenly gets sucked into this weird, dream, ghost-like world where he's enticed by beautiful Pokemon, but also chased down by scary ghosts. This all happens in like the span of a couple of seconds, and he doesn't even realize it himself until Jesse and James snap him out of his funk. So, of course they're going to try and catch this Pokemon, but to no avail, they can't make it happen. And that's when Ash and his friends arrive, and they also try to battle against Mimikyu. Now this is when the episode gets awesome, because my first thought is, there's no way that Ash is going to catch a Mimikyu. It would be just way too strange for him to have two Pokemon on his team, which seemingly resemble a Pikachu. And at first, it seems like he might actually defeat this Pokemon and even have a chance at catching it. But Mimikyu decides that it's actually going to work alongside Team Rocket. Mimikyu is going to be with Team Rocket. There's no way this is not going to happen, and it's absolutely perfect. Team Rocket has been wanting to capture Pikachu since the freaking second episode of the entire Pokemon anime series. And what do they get instead? A ghost-like Pokemon that wants to be like Pikachu. It is perfect. It means we're going to get a lot of great battles between Mimikyu and Pikachu as well. And Mimikyu is no slouch when it comes to fighting. It's able to utilize a lot of really great moves such as Shadow Ball and Shadow Claw. I love the look of its Shadow Claw actually coming up from underneath its veil as it stretches out and tries to scratch at Pikachu. And even its Shadow Ball technique is enough to knock away Pikachu's Electro Ball. It's just really great. It's also kind of funny. There's a lot of ridiculous scenes in the fight this week, but honestly, Mimikyu just sort of saves it. Not to mention how the battle ends with Beware just sort of showing up out of nowhere, grabbing Team Rocket and just sort of walking off with them like, well, see you later, guys. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Pokemon Sun and Moon? Team Rocket is back. I'm so glad that they have returned. They honestly fit perfectly in this anime series. They're so damn funny. They've always been some of my favorite villains from the entire series, if you even want to call them villains, and they're still doing what they always do. Still working for Giovanni, spreading the word of Team Rocket, and trying to capture rare Pokemon, which is to say, they're just going to follow Ash around and continuously try to capture Pikachu. Maybe they'll try to mix it up. What I will say is I'm glad they're back, and I love the prospect that maybe they are actually going to have the Mimikyu on their team. There's something very perfect about that. They always manage to have some really weird Pokemon. It is also worth mentioning that Wobbuffet has returned as well, because why not? I also didn't expect to see Mimikyu this early in the series because I've still been playing through my Pokemon Sun and Moon games. I've only completed the second grand trial and I haven't even seen a Mimikyu yet. So the fact that apparently they found one on Melee Island might go against the rules of the game, but what do I know? Maybe it's still there and I just didn't see it. But this is the Pokemon anime series, and it makes its own rules, and honestly, the prospect of Team Rocket having a Mimikyu, I think, is perfect. It's also going to lead to what I believe is going to be some of the funniest scenes of the series, with them maybe constantly trying to see what Mimikyu's true form looks like. And let's face it, we all want to see what that looks like, but according to the Pokedex entry, that's something that not a lot of people can see, as they are instantly knocked out when they try to see this thing, or they get sucked into its dark void of evilness. This was another fantastic episode of Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is actually making me fall in love with the Pokemon anime series again, which I think is a pretty damn big accomplishment. Maybe it took a new art style to make it happen, maybe it took the hype behind Pokemon and Sun and Moon to get me behind it. What I will say is, I am enjoying this experience. Just like the games itself, it truly does feel like a tropical vacation. Don't discount this series because its art style is a little different from what we've gotten in the past. In fact, I really do think it has added a lot of freshness to this series. And if you just want to see your favorite Pokemon animated, check out this show. I honestly think it's going to be a really fun Pokemon adventure. This episode right here, for me personally, was really nostalgic and fun. Team Rocket coming back was fantastic. So I'm going to give this one right here a 4 out of 5. It was a really simple episode, but it was really fun, and it had me smiling from ear to ear the entire time. So check it out, Pokemon fans. Episode 3 of Pokemon Sun and Moon. If you guys did watch this episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Do you believe that Team Rocket is going to gain access to this Mimikyu? Do you think it's officially going to join their team? Are you excited if that is going to happen? What do you think of the Pokemon Mimikyu? What do you think it actually looks like? And what do you want to see from the rest of this brand new Pokemon anime? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to leave me a comment or two, and I would really appreciate it if you liked the video to please give it a like and share it with all your friends. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, I will see you next time. Stay dandy, baby.